It is St. Patrick's Day. Feeling a little feisty tonight. If you are at the faint of heart and don't like controversial, see, I've already been drinking tonight, controversial takes. I mean, I completely lost my train of thought. That's fine. If you don't like controversial takes, if you don't like my horrible opinion, then I suggest going back and watching episode 77.
Last week's episode, yeah.
Yeah, no, 77, not last week's. Go to 77 if you want just a nice tame episode. Go to 77.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, join us tonight as we get feisty, have some fun in lieu of the Indianapolis calling happening this weekend. Outcast Haven podcast starts now. Yeah, so this week I have a couple of hot button takes. One is a Kano take that kind of frustrated me, the way it was portrayed on the website. One was a concession I made that I will never do again, and I'm still pissed at myself for doing it. And then we'll talk a little ProQuest, talk a little bit indie, get jacked for new products, get jacked for Pro Tour coming. Blake, where should we start? Do we want to start on the Kano? Because I think you kind of know where I'm going with the Kano. Or should I talk about a brief about draws? And we'll talk about Kano. Yeah. While Dane's getting his drink. So the Kano take. Kano's an extremely hard deck to play. Blake and I both played it. It's very hard. It's very hard to set up. New cards are amazing that help out the deck a ton. If you're going to go on the Facebook page bragging about a 1-turn kill, but it's turn 1, it takes away everything that is Kano by saying, hey, look we had super fucking high variance and hit the nut draw, and this makes the ultimate Kano deck and the ultimate Kano player. No, it doesn't. It fucking doesn't. It means you got lucky. You revealed Starvel style on turn 1. Good effing job, right? Talk about how hard it is to stack your deck, to count your pitch, to make sure. I played them at our local armory. What did I do? I had two wildfires in hand. I pitched them to Kano on top of a blue, and then I started counting. I got 2 E-Pots out. I got Blazing Aether in my arsenal, and I blocked a shit ton and counted. And I knew when the cards came, and I hit for the win. That's what I want to hear people talk about when they talk about good decks, great players. Not, he did 55 damage and killed a guy in round 1, turn 0.
Because your math doesn't work on that, right?
I didn't math it out. I didn't math it out because I didn't care, because you basically took a deck that's hard to pilot, that you should be bragging about a pilot pitch stack in his deck.
It's great because no piloting took place. Right. Like you had to sequence the stuff. You
discount everything that makes that dick yeah, we'll call it dick great, because that's where I'm going with it. Because when we saw back in the Nationals for New Zealand, before anywhere else in the world was playing, and it was the IRA meta, what made the Kano players great in Blitz back then was the fact that they were pitch stacking and counting exactly to their double Blazing Stir 4th turn, right? It was super hard to set up. There wasn't this huge variance, amazing turn. It was actually playing a deck and being good. Why the fuck are we going out to make this is great for bad play? I mean, Starvo, bad play. Hey, look, I revealed 3 cards. Oh, you're a great player. You showed me 3 things. You're so amazing. I'll bow down to you.
Ooh,
go fuck yourself.
I got something to say about that.
So that's where I wanted to start. Yeah. That's where I want to start. I was just pissed about that. Brag about amazing play, that he did a good job. Don't praise because you fucking had 1 turn that was amazing. Go fuck yourself. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's frustrating, especially as a Kano player. It's like mind-numbingly frustrating because I have so much respect for Alex Vore, who everybody's always like, this guy's the new best Kano player in North America, best Kano player in the world.
Claiming that, because for anything, anywhere, if you're the one saying it about yourself or something, like, or if you're like doing the deck tech, and the content creator says it about you, it's like
deny it,
be humble, because you're probably not. It's just the way it is. Like, not to be like a dick to all these bests out there, but you're not probably.
You know what? Here's the thing. As a general rule, just like in sports,
I will say, I think Tyler Horspool is a fantastic Prism player, and like just because he took it when no one was expecting it to win the Vegas calling. But like, I'm not even gonna say he's the best Prism, because who knows?
Well, I also think it's like important. It's important to decide, or to say like, hey, the best player on a deck is the one that the community decides is the best player on a deck, or like the collective good players decide. Like, to me, saying that you're the best, especially in a season where you're like, well, I won a Pro Quest, or I topped a Pro Quest with Kano. It's like, that doesn't mean anything, because you had to get through the field of your local players, not through the field of the best players in the country or the best players in the world.
You know what it is? You know what bothers me? Sorry. Like, the thing that really like irks me about all of that is like, it boils down to, I feel like everyone is just trying to be the loudest to like get noticed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot, and you see it a lot, I guess, but like, I've just been seeing.
We are the loudest, so fucking stop trying to be the loudest. We've already proven we are the loudest.
No, I mean, like, in like the way that they talk about things. Like, we're obnoxious and assholes, and that's fine. And but I don't think that we like, we don't spam. We don't spam shit. We don't like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, people just saying like, oh, the bet, like the wording on the title of the video, like #1 Kano killer. It's like, what was it? #1 best Kano killer. It's like, so
no,
that
turn one Kano killer.
That's what it was. And I was like, so when I open this video, I should be watching the deck tech of a deck that kills Kano turn 1. Because that's how words and grammar work.
That's how English works.
Yeah. Can I tell you?
But
there's this movie.
Sorry, but what
it was called the Tooth. It was called the Tooth Fairy, with The Rock.
Oh.
And The Rock always was. His saying was, you know what? Yeah, you're playing the guitar, but there's another kid in another town, and he's playing, and he's practicing it more, and he's better than you. And then there's another kid in another town over there, and he's playing even more, and he's practiced, and he's probably better than you. So yes, when you think you're the best, there's always one better. It's just the way it is.
I mean, but here's the thing, right? There's a simple, again, we've preached this how many times on this channel. There's a simple way to determine who is actually the best. And in order to see them as the true #1, right? To be the alpha Kano player, you have to prove you're the best at events that matter. Currently in North America, maybe in the world, Alexander Vore. Alex is the one who holds the title as best Kano player, because he played it in Vegas and he topped. And then I'm pretty sure he played it at Nationals and he did well again. He's 59th in the world in ELO. In constructed, meaning that as the guy who's piloted Kano in this events that give you ELO, he piloted Kano, and he's a top 100 player in the world with Kano in ELO events. I'm just saying, I feel like that is what makes you the best, not winning a Pro Quest. Is it cool that you won a Pro Quest with Kano? Yes, absolutely. Cool. That's awesome. Love it. I'm excited.
We wouldn't be having this conversation right now if the video was like, awesome Kano deck, come and listen to like our deck tech, and like that's what it was. But like, pull the rainbow out of your ass that you popped up there.
Yeah.
And let's like, and we'll move on and we'll all be happy. Then that's fine.
It's the classic issue that so many content creators have, where rather than just put out good content and advertise it as good content,
not even good content, put out honest content. That's what I want more than anything.
Right.
Just be like fucking honest.
Good.
This is what we are.
Tell me what it is, right? Like, there's a reason that when you turn on ESPN, when I turn it on in the morning, I immediately turn it off, because I don't want to hear Stephen A. Smith scream and yell about how he understands anything, because he doesn't understand anything. The dude probably never was a varsity athlete in anything. In Little League Baseball, he probably, like, the kid with like one arm who was swinging the baseball bat probably hit bigger dingers than Stephen A. Smith. He is clearly not athletic.
Yeah. No, Steve.
He is bad.
He held the ball. He was like,
yes, he was the T. He was the kid he was the catcher in T-ball. Okay, the most meaningless kid on the field in T-ball. He was the catcher. You don't need a catcher in T-ball. There's a guy standing there to pick the ball up and put it back on the tee when somebody knocks it off.
All right.
Do we put it in right field? No.
He's the catcher. He's the catcher.
Oh, that's genius. That's why you're the head coach of this T-ball team. That's a perfect take. That's a great take.
I think that it's just like this. Actually, keep doing it. Content creators, keep doing these ridiculous things because it makes it so much easier for me to know what videos not to watch. Like it's so easy just to be like, no.
As soon as I read it,
watch that. No,
I was out.
Yeah,
did this much damage on turn 0.
Everyone keep doing you, because.
Do you know how many people in this next upcoming Blitz season are at some point in time going to do 25 damage with a KO deck, right? Yep. And just TK somebody on turn 0? It's going to happen a lot. It doesn't make you a good player. It means the deck was like, here, I'm going to give you a hand job in the back. You enjoy this while it lasts. Boom. Done. There it is.
Dude, I will say that KO specialization, though, is pretty fucking dirty.
It's funny.
Yeah, Justin hit me with it, and he was just rolling 2d6, and I was just like, hopefully these are both low. Like, that's so immediately so much scarier. So it was kind of fun to play against.
And we're going to get in that more. So next, I'm just going to do my little, I want your guys' opinion. I want everybody's opinion on how to fix this. So at the ProQuest, I was playing another local, and it wasn't because one of us was playing slow. It was because we were both playing New Bravo, and there's a lot of block, and you can cycle your deck, and it takes a long time to fatigue somebody. Mm-hmm. And I ended up conceding. And I conceded when I had 21 cards to his 9. I had the win. It was an easy win. I even had 2 D-reacts that I'd shuffled back into my deck that I knew were in there. I had an easy win. And I felt pressured to concede. And I'm not happy about that part. And I also, because one was I was paired down, so I was 2-2 against a 301. And it shouldn't be like that, where that matters, because the next match could matter even more. And it also makes where somebody else got kicked out that probably shouldn't have gone kicked out, because they should have gone in, because so my concession affected another person, not just me. So I'm not mad at the person I played. I'm mad at myself, because I had just done a deck count on my turns. I was turn 0. And he was 9. I was 22. So as we know, I have the win. That at even life,
in a
I have the
game.
Win. Yeah, I have the win. There's no coming back from that, especially with 2 D reacts in deck. And I attack, and he did not, and he blocked out. And then he attacked me, and I didn't block to lose. And I regret doing that so bad. I'll never do that again.
Yeah,
never ever will I do that again. If it's round 1, I don't mind. Round 5, it just feels bad because I affected other people's. Because he top 8 and I affected somebody else possibly top 8ing.
Yeah, because the person who got 9th would have been.
Right, and he's done well, but he didn't deserve that top 8. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that top 8. I had that game. It was over, right? It's just the way it is, and I affected somebody else. So with draws, there's got to be it wasn't due to slow play. Like this was 0 to, I've drawn as a slow play. We were both playing very fast. It just, when you're going through your deck 4 or 5 times, it takes a long time to get through it. There's got to be another way that we resolve a draw, either by most life. I don't know if there's a good solution, but there's got to be a solution other than you draw, you're effed because draws are worse than a loss. I don't like that right now.
Yeah. I think that's part of it too, is like, it feels weird because you get in a situation where it's like, well, I mean, I guess I'd rather lose than, but I don't know. It's weird with that system. It's weird that there's not like an alternative or an extension system.
What would the alternative or extension system be? Because like life is not necessarily
I like
good
0, 1, 2, 3, 4
for turns played. I mean,
because for one, because I go 0, I'm turn player 0, I attack him. He decides to block out. So then he attacks, I block out. I attack on 3. If he decides to block out again, then completely fuck him. If you're not going to concede, then I'm not going to concede, right? Why would I give
0-1
it to
does feel very fast. I feel like they could maybe do 0-1.
I don't like 0-1 at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of it. I'd like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3.
I'm kind of curious why, because like other games we've played, so like for example, Dragon Ball used a time and then turn system where they did like a 5-minute overtime. So it's like if anybody was still playing at time, there was like an additional 5 minutes where you could finish your round, and if it didn't finish, then it went turn 0-1. So it basically gave like a buffer window where like, because sometimes the biggest issue is like 2 control decks get in a weird spot where it's like, well, nobody wants to concede, but if you just had a couple more minutes, you might be able to resolve the game. Because
with him 9 cards, it definitely would have resolved that. Because 5 minutes and then going to turns, his deck is gone.
Yeah,
and then we don't even worry about it.
My only argument for like the like not even necessarily adding more time, but having just like maybe the 0, 1, 2, 3 is that at least gives you an opportunity for wild. Like it's like end of the game, I'm going to set up for a wild turn, take a big risk, do something crazy to try and close it out. If it doesn't pay off, it doesn't pay off. Like I'm gonna, arsenal this where I normally wouldn't, thinking that if I draw into this, if I draw the resources for it, I can play it and go nuts. If not, you win. That's fine. You don't get that opportunity on 0-1 because 0 times called on me. It's like, okay, well, I have 2 cards left in my hand, so I guess I just attack with that, and now your go. So
yeah, you also get put in a weird spot where like sometimes you don't get a chance to think about it. Like to Jason's point, he was counting after he declared his attack, then started counting his deck. And it's like at that point, it's too late for anybody, like it kind of puts you in a weird spot where like you attack, you count your deck, you realize you've got 30 cards left, like half your deck is still there. You count theirs, they've got 4. I mean, obviously they would know 4, but like 10 or less cards, right? But by that point, they might have already declared blocks and moved to the next turn. So like you didn't even get a chance to really get a feel for the game state without actually stopping from it. Like, can you count your deck? I'm going to count my deck so you can try to get an idea. But then it's like, are you being persuasive about it? Like trying to get them to concede to you? Hey, I'm going to beat you anyway. You should.
I think honestly kind of learning secondhand from Jason as a rule of thumb, I'm just never conceding because that just opens the door for feel bads. It's like, cool, I'm going to play out through the end. And if we tie, guess that's
so I had the first Procrest of the season. I had a draw turn 1 and
round 1.
Thank you. And he was, I'm not going to say slow, a little bit slower, right? And I didn't pressure him to play faster, which I know players do. I just have a real hard time pressuring people to play faster. I didn't think it would go to time. I thought I could fatigue him before it went to time because it was a Lexi deck. And it went to time. No concessions. I'm okay with that one. And he had 1 card left, literally 1 card left. And he had 6 health, and I only had a 5 damage attack in my hand. So that's, once again, if it went 0, 1, 2, 3, I win that game, no issue. So it does make a very feel bad moment for players in a draw. And I think it makes it more negative than what I don't think they were trying to make it more of a positive, but like get your games done faster so you never have a draw. And in reverse, by going to 0-1, it's made it more of a negative experience. Because I'm still, like I said, because of this, I will never concede a match again. Like in a game like this, I will never ever concede a match, because not only to affect myself, because as a person who's got a 17-year-old son and never let him win at anything unless you earn it, to give somebody something that not only did they not earn, but they straight up lost, and to give that to somebody, no matter who they are, I won't even do that to my own son. So it just made me feel bad, and I blame myself for that, for that concession. But then I affected somebody that probably bubbled out at 9th that maybe has never made 8, and I affected them. And that makes me even feel more shitty because I've topped 8, you know, and know how good and how awesome a feeling that is, especially if you've never done it before. And there was a lot of people that were super close that were right there. And for that reason, I will never, ever concede again. Never. I don't care if I'm getting paired up, paired down, whatever it is, no concessions for me.
Yeah, I will say on that note, I will say, like, if I sit down like against a really control-y, like basically if I sit down against an Oldham or something, I will say like, hey, like, let's just play a little quick, you know, make sure that we're on pace because I don't want to draw, and that's all I'll say, unless they are being like really blatantly slow. But I think with that and like starting like, hey, this is just my expectation that like you're not taking 2 minutes, because honestly I think people, especially that locals and stuff, will just like genuinely forget that there's like a clock. Like they'll be playing and they'll be thinking through stuff, and before you know it, it's been like a minute, and they're like, oh yeah, and it's like at that point you sound kind of needy if you're like, hey, can you like pick it up a little bit? So just fucking open with it and be like, hey, quick reminder, your deck is fucking really control-y, so let's play fast. And like that's
my favorite one is, and I did it at Nationals because I knew I was going to play a lot of Briars and I was playing Bravo, and I did the same thing in Vegas. I always sit on the side of the table facing the clock, so I can always see the clock. And if we get to like the 40-minute mark, like if we're 10 or 15 minutes in and I feel like it's going slow, I just start saying the time. I just start saying the time. I'll just be like, we got 40 minutes left. Every like 5 minutes, I say the time. Like, we got 35 minutes left.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like you were standing there, you saw me moving people out of the room.
Yeah.
Like you heard me yell at people, move, get the fuck out of the way. I can't see the clock. I was yelling at people to get the fuck out of the way so I could see the clock I wanted every second. Like if I'm holding my cards and they're thinking, I want to know exactly where that clock is because I know my turn. So when he's done, I can do it.
It doesn't help too that like Starvo is such a thought intensive deck. Like it's just like it takes so much like brain power to think through what you're doing. It's so can I go into my story?
Yes, do it.
Yeah, please do.
So we were at a local and we had finished up, and I ran Iris Prism because I just wanted to shake it up and try some new shit. But afterwards, the guy that I lost in the final round to, Chris, he was running Starvo, and I was like, Blake, let me grab your wizard. And like something Dylan or someone brought up how like, you know, I don't.
Someone made a smart ass remark.
Something about how I don't know why everyone says that Starvo's a brain dead deck or just Starvo's a helmet deck. And I was like, you know what, Blake, give me your Starvo. I don't play Guardian. The last time I've touched a Guardian card was like 4 months ago when I bought a Tectonic because I thought I wanted to try it again, and I didn't, and I sold it away. For those who don't know, I have purchased and then resold the Tectonic Plating 3 times now because I've been like, I want to try it. I try it and I hate it and I sell it, and then I'm like, oh, but with these new cards, so I don't touch Bravo. I don't enjoy the playstyle, whatever. I was like, Blake, give me your Starvo deck. Let's just run this. We'll run the mirror, and like I just want to prove I don't know how to do any of this other than like playing against it and like picking up on what the lines are. So let's just go. And we ran it, and he revealed, fused, Okanolded me twice, or was it 3 times?
3 times.
He got me 3 times. I got him no times, and I lost on 0 to 6 life.
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
It was 0 to 6. He got he exposed to the elements my crown and shield 4 or 5 turns before I got his.
Yep.
And it was 0 to 6 life, and it was the most stupid high rolly. Did I say I didn't expose fused Okanold a single time? Like, yeah. And at one point, Dylan sitting next to him being a smartass I was looking through my hand, and he was like, oh yeah, fucking, because I'm taking time, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, brain dead deck, huh? Helmet deck, and I'm like, dude, I'm I'm reading what Heave does because I don't even look at Guardian cards. Like, I'm literally reading the cards for the first time. Like, that's how fucking straightforward this deck was. It was ridiculous. So please just don't make that argument, because it's a straightforward deck. It is what it is, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I don't know if it gets hit. I don't know, but
so let's just jump right in there. What is our opinions? Like, I personally think at this point, I don't think the deck gets hit at this point in time. Personally, I don't know how they hit it at this point in time, but
Blake
do I think it should be hit?
Blake brought up a good idea.
I don't know if it's Kale. I don't know who it was that originally brought up. Just make it Guardian 3+ cards. It's got to be Guardian 3+. You get the +2. Go again.
That's what I've said forever. Is just make it Guardian cards, because I think people don't understand that like how that affects the curve of the deck, in the sense that one of the most important parts of the reveal and the consistency, if you're going to constantly see all three elements, is being able to crown every single turn, and that crown cycle. And that happens because Autumn's Touch and Breakground cost exactly 3, which means you reveal 3 cards, you attack with one of them, you swing Hammer with the ice one, and then you arsenal the lightning one. So you can play off 3 cards every turn and consistently cycle your deck to see your reveal. If you made it Guardian cards, the only Guardian card that's worth playing, and it's not even really worth playing, is Crush Confidence, because it gets rid of hero abilities. But the problem is that doesn't even affect everybody like in a way that's worthwhile. That's the only one that costs 3 that you would want to run. Everything else costs 4. Besides Okanold. Right. But if that was like the only meaningful card in the deck, like now that could do that thing like one turn. Because my argument has been, like, if you had to play like Disable and things like that cost you 2 to 3 cards, or like you cost you 3 cards, your Tunic,
then you're not
stuff
getting
like that
your
to play.
Arsenal and Hammer Swing every
Yeah.
You
don't get a Dominate, Big Swing, Hammer Swing, and Arsenal. The issue right now is that you're getting 7 to 9 Dominates with a Hammer Swing and an Arsenal. So you're outputting an average of 11 to 13 damage every turn, with most of that coming Dominate.
Even worse.
And most of that having some sort of negative effect.
And you can't. The worst part is if you want to have a turn, this is where I think people miss the point of why this deck is oppressive, easy to play, and bad, is you can't afford to block the Autumn's Touch for the 7 Dominate, because you need to block the Hammer to turn off your Frostbite. Because if you throw a card to the Autumn's Touch on your 1 Dominate, and then you throw 2 cards to block Hammer, or 1 to block Hammer, and you're left with 2 cards, you have no turn, because you can't pay for the Frostbite and have a turn.
Yeah, I think
that's exactly why it's broken. Is Autumn's Touch, by not having to be Guardian, makes it so easy for that big attack.
I've made the argument. My big thing, right, is that one of the big reasons that they've edited or errated or changed things is because it goes against the philosophy of the game. Drone went against the philosophy of the game, or Seeds went against where cards are supposed to matter. The problem is, like, theoretically, I get that, like, you play the Autumn's Touch so it quote unquote matters. The problem is what you're basically doing with it is, like, if you could reveal and pitch a card, because you're getting multiple effect. You're getting an effect on the card on the reveal, and then you're playing the card, which to me, it's too. The card
paying a cost.
Too much.
Cost.
It
Autumn's
is,
Touch
and
paying
being
a cost
used.
and then attacking.
Yep,
it's doing 2 things with 1 card. That's a great take. I love that.
Yeah, because my thing is, like, you won't let people reveal a card for fuse and pitch that card, but you're letting them reveal a card and then attack with the same card. And to me, that, like, goes against the philosophy where, like, if you made it Guardian cards, you couldn't reveal the Guardian card to the effect and then play it, which is why the Okanold turns are honestly as bad as they feel with the 11 Dominate, Go Again, and the hit effects. They actually are realistically the hardest ones to play more often than not, because you need.
Then why does
cards.
It happen against me so fucking consistently, Blake? I don't know the last.
Because you can run blue, like you run your lightnings in blue.
Because you're running. The issue is you're running too many of the elemental cards right now, because you can play the Autumn's Touches when you don't see it.
I was just saying, like, with your fix, that obviously goes away. But
right,
for how hard it is to get that, why have I not played a Starvo and not had it done on me twice per game at a minimum?
Yeah,
Like,
because it's exactly because of the it's because Autumn's Touch means too much to the deck. It's too good.
yeah.
So
right
I
now.
played I took Kale's version of New Bravo, and I switched it to our meta because our meta is very different than New Zealand's. So I swapped about 8 cards, which caused me to put in more turn timbers, more staunch responses. So I had 12 D reacts to play against Bravo.
That list honestly seems pretty in line with like Guardian, like
right
more so
in
than
true Jason fashion, i.e. Nationals. What happens? I play 3 fucking Prisms, which the deck is not equipped to handle in my first 4 rounds. I got one of the 3. It just
which brings us to our next point is that I think that is if whatever happens with Starvo, like I said last podcast, like
we could talk about the Prism problem last week. Last week we talked about
Prism is going to be an issue as soon as like this aggro Bravo goes away. Like
because
everyone's gonna. I would be surprised if they do something non-organically to Starvo. They I feel like they have to do something to Prism.
Right. Yeah. Because right now he's, I've made the argument that, when people are like, well, Prism's fine if Starvo's like Prism's just getting, it's like, yeah, but here's the issue, right? Right now, Starvo is protecting the meta from like a tier 0 Prism format where it's just like Prism kind of bullying everybody else because what Prism does is can be so oppressive to so many decks because they don't have the action economy to handle the deck. Well, so like
that Starvo, and the fact that Starvo does it aggressively enough. I don't think there's another deck that does it aggressively enough because now Prism goes so fast into her end state, like game board state that she needs to see.
What he does that is good against Prism is he is able to like clear the shields, ping at the life, and get an aura every turn without forfeiting what he's trying to accomplish in basically every other game. It's just dominate at your face, pop an aura, dominate at your face, pop an aura. So then the return fire from Prism is very minimal. It's a lot of pokes and pings, and he's able to maintain the aura game state while keeping at Prism's life and like putting Prism in like an awkward situation where she can't protect her spectrals, which is a lot of the game, is like build up a bunch of spectrals, do a bunch of poking. Like he takes that away. And the issue is other decks can't do that, right? Like decks that have the action economy that go again are doing weird things outside of what they're trying to normally do. So like Katsu is having to like save a Kodachi at the end, even when he wants to put it early so that he can go Kodachi, attack, draw a card. He has to hold one Kodachi until the very end of the turn and always do it at the end to get an aura, which is still like makes for imperfect turns. He's okay in that sense. The problem is decks like Dorinthia Axes or something that has typically 2 actions a turn, or something like Viserai that can go like at your face and then swing with a sword. They don't get the arcane off the sword. They don't get the rune champ pop off the sword. So like that extra ping damage that they get throughout the game, that's a big part of what they're trying to accomplish. Prism like nullifies that in a weird way. And Bravo is able to basically then like counter nullify her effect where it's like, well, I'm going to come at your face. I'm going to come at your face hard. So you're going to take like 5 to 7 damage every turn if you don't have defense reactions. So it pushes her into like a weird spot where she doesn't have like the hand economy to keep holding cards for turns. And like he ends up being in that situation where he's like, everybody's like, I hate Starvo. And it's like, right, but you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Like you need me to protect you from Prism.
You can't handle the truth.
For the show, Spectrum is not even in my fucking vocabulary. Don't even know what that means. Don't care what that means.
What word?
Spectra. It just
I hate that.
He just doesn't care about that word. Whereas other decks
sometimes
other decks like, oh, that kind of sucks. Yeah, he just like, I'm not even gonna hit those. Don't care. I'm just going at your face consistently.
So we were talking about this too, and like I have thought for a long time that the most broken weapon in the game is Luminaris. Like
it's obnoxious.
Since basically it dropped, I was like, this. Did you see what this one does? Because this is fucking insanity. Like So yeah,
I mean,
so I
yeah,
would be.
yeah.
I thought that it is entirely possible that Luminaris gets hit. And Blake, you brought up that you thought maybe it just gets like dialed back, like it doesn't like it. You remove the auras
the aura
swing
part.
for one.
Oh God,
it
that's
just
so
gives everything.
frustrating.
It can give everything go again, but the auras don't swing for one anymore, which would
Yeah.
be interesting. But like, I'm kind of okay with that because this Iris build, the only deck that it was bad against was the mirror, and it was dog shit against the mirror because it was just so much more efficient to have the go agains. But like everything else, it's just like I called it Big Dick Prism because that's that's what it was. It was just a big swinging. It was awesome. It was super fun to play, except in the mirror. It was total dog shit.
I will argue that the biggest issue with Prism is that everybody hates getting hit with Kodachis over and over again, and Prism is the only deck in the game where like blocking efficiency just means nothing.
No,
it just doesn't mean anything.
For 9 auras.
Nobody can swing for 9 ones. Like people are like, oh, Bravo's oppressive. It's like, yeah, but at least it's one source. You could just put unmovables in. How do you block 9 single damage? It's like, and then the best part is when they go like swing for 1, and you're like, okay, that's fine. They're gonna make a they're gonna make a shield, and they're gonna swing at me. And they're like, oh, to Wrath pitching 2 yellows, and you're like, really? So I die now? Like
lose a life, bitch.
It takes what made the game great of being able to block, like you said, and use your cards efficiently to, I'm going to swing 9 ones, but I'm on 12 health. So I die on this turn or the next turn, which it's up to me which turn I'm going to die on. Because there's nothing I can do. I am going to die. I hate that you know you're going to die 3 turns out.
I love
inevitability.
Prism. I love Prism, and I've played her since she dropped, and she's just the most fun deck that I play. And that is, I will defend her, but I agree. And the more I think about it, the more I think like a Luminaris hit is just a really elegant way to like put her back into like that tier 1.5 tier, possibly 1. I don't think that if Luminaris gets banned, that Prism's out of like the running for things, which I mean, similar to Chain, like they banned Seeds and Chain, and Chain went from being like a borderline tier 0 to now just like a competitive, if you like Chain and practice on Chain, you can do well with Chain deck. I think that's what Prism becomes if Luminaris gets hit.
Interestingly enough, you know, in effect that it was funny because so Bergie beforehand, we played a ton of games, and Tom, who actually top forward this last ProQuest with Prism, Bergie was attacking me, and he was like, he swung with like Miraging Metamorph or something, right? And he like pitches a blue, and he's like 7. I was like, oh, gross, 7 with go again. I hate this. So I lose a life if it hits me. And he's like, well, no, it doesn't have go again because I didn't pitch a yellow. I'm like, right, but you have Ode to Wrath out, and Ode to Wrath gives all of your gives a go again. And he was like, wait, there's more text than the life loss one. And Tom's like, yeah, Ode to Wrath is really good, especially with like so many blues. And I'm like, the fact that people don't even know that, you're like, you could just prioritize Ode to Wrath, because if you get it, if you arsenal, it creates a situation where you don't just like puke out auras, and you go, okay, I'm going to arsenal my Ode to Wrath for the turn that I pitch stacked to like 3 of my attacks with a blue. Like I have 3 1-cost attacks and a blue coming. The turn before, at the end of their turn, I'm going to pop this thing out, then I'm going to do that, and then all of a sudden you have this like overrunning situation, right? Well, not 3, but
that doesn't work mathematically, but
okay. Say you Ode to Wrath and arsenal 2 blues, 2 1 or 2-cost attacks. Now all of a sudden you can pop the Ode to Wrath at the end of their turn.
Though.
Off of the tunic, baby, a blue and a tunic. You pitch the blue, you make a shield, you're swinging. Like all of a sudden, you're
2 attacks. Yeah, you swing 2 attacks. With it. That's
like,
good. Yeah,
but you're doing it with Ode to Wrath. Yeah, it's like that whole thing where like it creates this situation where you're like stacking effects and trying to play to like big turns, which is what these decks with a lot of effects and a lot of stacked things should play to, right? Like Bravo. As a Guardians play to like these big turns. They play to the pitch stack. They play to big turns. The fact that Starvo just pukes damage makes him feel not like a Guardian, which is why I stopped playing him the last couple weeks, because I like playing Guardians. The bottom of his card says Guardian, but when I play him, not playing a guardian. He's not. It's not the deck. It's not. He's not a guardian.
If you play him aggro version, he's definitely not a guardian.
He's not
you
a guardian.
Can make him a guardian, and if his card text gets changed, he can be a guardian once again. But right now, we're the Outcast Havens.
He can be redeemed.
Havens, plural, even though it's not. We're officially banning New Bravo out of the Guardian clan. We are no longer associating him or recognizing him as Guardian. He's his own
the
thing.
Weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. You've
been banned from Guardian.
You are a part of the Guardian gang, but we do not give you the title of Master. How can I be a part of the Guardians and not be a Master? That's not fair.
How could I have Guardian on my text and not be a Guardian? It's like, yeah, fuck off. No, I'm also proudly not in that gang. So you guys make your decisions for your little cult and do what you will.
So this whole conversation is coming full circle back around to Kano, who Prism right now does not allow. So this is kind of
I love
Dane plays whoever. Dane goes back and forth, waffles on heroes, right? Same way me and Blake do, right? But me and Blake have a system that after a competitive season, we were even playing at different shops on Tuesday, did not talk to each other pre-hand, and we both play Kano.
I play different heroes.
We just come back to the Kano-ness.
Yeah.
And I beat a New Bravo because Kano can beat New Bravos. He's good because you Oakenhold him. He's just going to try to do shit. You try to expose him. He'll just break his boots and burn you. So he's good. And I beat a 3. So this is what the whole thing at the beginning pissed me off is I played Zach and he played 3 Null Rune Rhinar. Super hard, super annoying. Like the longest Kano game ever, but allowed me to pitch stack. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to become a better player in this game and pitch my wildfires. And I am going to play to a specific point in this game and be a good player against another good player who's blocking everything and just a good game. But I set up my end game. And then I played Bates against Prism in round 3, 2-0 versus 2-0. And I got my shit kicked in because he was playing Prism. If I drew the nuts, if I could have had the 55.
Well, you would have had to be a good Kano player to get that.
Wait, hold on. Let me get him out here like this. The 55. And I was the best Kano player in the world. Maybe I could have beat him on that. But a normal game where you're going back and forth, I had 0 chance because I couldn't apply enough pressure. I had awkward hands, and I don't have time against Prism to fix my awkward hands. Awkward hands can be fixed. So I've heard like some people say I got really unlucky in this game. I've heard locally people say, I got really unlucky. That's why I lost. God, I'm an ass. But anyway,
cutting that out of my vocabulary, I recommend everyone does that too.
Yeah.
Like, just like laugh it off and say I'm a fucking moron instead. People will like you way more.
I've drawn bad.
I played Tom with my Iris Prism. That's the Prism that I played into. And afterwards, I was like, "Hey guys, my list is dog shit into this. Like, I didn't consider the mirror very much because I'm not used to playing a ton of Prisms in the mirror." And like, I was just laughing it off, like, I'm dog shit. And like, that felt so much better than being like, "Oh, dude, if I would have seen this, like, oh, I got so unlucky." Like, that's such a shitty way to like end a game.
Well, correct. More importantly, when you say I got unlucky, you discount the other person's skill, and you're basically telling them you're not good. I just got unlucky. You suck. I'm good, and I would win if I wasn't unlucky. And I think that's like the lowest of the low in a competitive form. Like when somebody tells me like, "Oh, I got unlucky,"
that's why 100%.
Cool. Like, it's fine. I'm not good at the game. Don't give me any credit for winning. It's fine. You got unlucky. You're totally right. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the happy medium. I'm gonna give you nobody does. Nobody does. But drawing unlucky in Kano against Prism, you can't play around it to try to fix your hand. Like every other deck, usually you can fix your damn hand, play around it eventually. But I'll give you happy medium. Instead of saying unlucky, this is what I do. I'm like, I'm not going to give you the credit you're the better player. I'm just going to say I completely misplayed that. I fucked up that turn where you did this. I did that. Should have never done that. That's on me. So I'm not totally giving. Yes, you played better this round. I'm not totally.
That's better than saying you got unlucky, but that's
right. So I'll say, because I've played Tom, and he's beat me like 2 or 3 times in a row now, and it's really depressing. And in the one time I truly misplayed because I knew he had a pummel because he accidentally showed it to me on a Celestial Cataclysm. I'm like, oh, can't pummel that. It's not 2 cost. And then proceeded to not play around it on my next turn and died. So I was like, oh, I knew that was there. I suck. You are not better than me. I suck. You lose somehow, but you won.
I will argue that
what I will. Yeah, go ahead, Blake. I think we're going to be on the page here.
No, I was just going to say, I think there is an argument. Like sometimes you get you do get high rolled or things go really poorly. Getting unlucky oftentimes more happens when your opponent's deck just fires on all cylinders than when you just don't counter it correctly. Like a prime example of that is I played Kano. Bergie was like, oh, I'm going to play Prism. And I was like, cool, I'll play Kano. Like, sure, it's good practice. And then in the first 2 turns, he went first, played a Merciful, Arsenal to Merciful. And then the next turn, he puked out 2 more Mercifuls. And I'm just like, what? So every time you put a shield on board, I just die? Like, I'm so dead. Yeah. Like there's no world where I win this game. Like 0. And it's like in the first
Talishar, dude.
I saw Dane immediately do the math in his head when you said 2 mercifuls. Dane was like, the numbers started going up. Yep, that works. I'll allow it.
All he's got to do is drop an ode and you're fucked. Like that's gonna be
that was the worst part. That was the worst part. So it wasn't even an ode. It was just then he started making spectrals. Every time I would attack him, he would make a spectral. And it's like, okay, I'll take 3. I'll deal you 3 back. And I just had this awful world.
This is your attack tax.
Like it was worse than Channel Lake Frigid. I'd rather play in a Channel Lake Frigid than a world where every time I hit you, you deal 3 back to me.
Turns out when you get Channel Lake Frigid, you can just block with your whole hand for 2 turns until it's
Well, you know what? That's the move. What I love, and I found out. I didn't find out, but I was playing. Dude, nah, never mind. We won't get into all that because I don't want to call out the local community too much. So
I don't either. I don't either. So even though I did
that, we're gonna leave that. But be good to your locals. If you got new players, don't just sit down and be like, "Oh, great opportunity to crush someone." Teach them.
Don't smash their face.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
I actually felt really bad because we had a round where there was a misunderstanding, and Chris signed Adam up on Tuesday, and he wasn't there, so I got paired with Adam, and then we had a bye because we ended up having an even number of players, but the system thought it was odd because we didn't remove Adam, and I was like, we don't have to it's fine, we'll fix it after this round or whatever, right? So Peter, who I love, Peter is helping grow the game up at Battlegrounds, and he loves playing the game. He's like, hey, you're not playing. Do you want to play? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. I'll play. Let's do it. And I had a turn where I was doing Kano things, and I was just like, oh, man, I think he might quit playing Fab after this because I saw 3 Tome of Aether wins, or I saw 2 Tome of Aether wins and 2 Tome of Fyendals with a blazing Aether in my arsenal. And
that's a really good turn.
And a potion of deja vu, and I drew another Tome of Aether with my eye, and I was just like, oh god, this is gonna just I dealt 36 damage to him, and I was like, that's what the deck just did, and I felt so bad about it. At one point I looked over, and he was just looking at me like this, just this hand on his head, and I'm like, oh god, do I stop? At some point, do I just quit? Do I just call
it 20? Just move on. Be like, I'll pass turn.
I'm gonna pass. You have 8 cards in your hands. Yeah, I'm passing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna Arsenal.
I'm opting to pass.
I need block cards.
That's funny. I will say what happened to my game then, as I was playing into a new player on Ice Lexi, and I was playing Prism, and I had 2 Mercifuls down. And they were giving me 2 Frostbites a turn by flipping and then ice quaking into attacks and stuff like that. I was like, you can attack my auras, and It's like, that's what Spectre means. You can get rid of them. And he was just coming into me and giving me frostbites. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll play. And I didn't play my third Merciful because I was literally dealing him like 4 damage back when my 2 Mercifuls would get, or when my 2 frostbites would get destroyed.
Yeah,
because of the Mercifuls. So
Merciful. Yep.
I was like, I'm not gonna just like like I can. And then it's like, do I play? I literally had a turn where I could have gone third Merciful and an Ode and just been like, what would you like to do? I didn't do that, and like it got pointed out to me that I could have, and it's like, yes, thank you. I know my deck. I chose not to because he's been playing this. He literally said, this is my 5th game. Like, I'm not trying to do that shit. But it's really important to, I don't know. I think it's also cool. Like, as long as you're being friendly and it's a locals and it's casual, like go off, do your thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, in that game that I was playing, like I was there's a lot of back and forth about like what to do and like what could be attacked and all that stuff like that. So like I was not playing to win in the first place, but if you're just like playing a game and you find out like, oh, this guy's new, fucking play. Who cares? Like, go off, show them what the game can do. That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about
help
it.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Show off help.
Yep.
You can show your cock and, teach them how to use theirs all at the same time. It's allowed.
Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
God, I'm just disgusting person.
Oh yeah, we know. That's fine. We love you anyways.
I mean, I think locals is like the best time too to like have fun in general and try new things. I think that's the thing people miss a lot of times. Just people get too caught up in like, okay, what's the perfect optimal play? I had one turn. So I played Bergie round 1, and I was like, this is a locals. I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm gonna try something different. And I was like, I'll take this line of play and I'll see if I can kill you. And then he looked at me and he goes, well, that was pretty good. I was like, yeah, I just figured I would go for it and see what would happen. And it totally paid off. But that's the thing, right? It's like, I normally, it wouldn't be, in my mind, it wasn't the optimal play, but it's like a line of thought that I was like, oh man, it could be good. But what happens if I, if instead of going A to B to C, what if instead I jump to like, we just start with C, like this is a good card here, but I have to resequence everything around this card being the first card, and I have to try something different. It could cost me the game, but it's a locals. Like if I lose, so what? Like that's the thing is it's like, it's a great opportunity to try new cards, to test your deck out, put stuff in your deck that you always wanted to try that you're like, I would never try this at like a major event. I'd never take this to even a pro quest because it could just get me like, kicked in the teeth. But
I was just going to say, even do that because I did that and it was it was the most fun pro quest I've ever played. I got to play in the first week's pro quest, and I think I played like 3 games between the first week and the 4th week. And in those 3 games, I was like, okay, cool. I'm not practiced into fucking anything. Like my best shot, I think, is to like dust off this crazy Iris build that I've been just like brainstorming and see if I can catch people off guard. And in that pro quest, the amount of times people are like, wait, it's swinging for 4. Like that moment is the only reason that I kept playing that deck, because it is not as good as Luminaris. It's not, but it's super fun. And if Luminaris gets hit, and that matchup is no longer my bad matchup, then I'm free and clear, baby. I already got my Prism tested, dude. So like it was so much fun to like sit down across from people and be like, 4 go again, and 7 aura, and they're like, okay, I thought I cleared your board last turn. It's like, you did, but then I dropped a fucking prismatic shield and swung for 4 with each of them because why not? No, it was a super fun experience. Like and it was not good. I did not top 8. It's not an amazing deck, but glistening into playing a Kano round 6, I played Anthony, and being able to have an aura swinging for 12 because I glistened it and they can't pop it. It's like, this is fun. I like this. I did that. I did that to you too. I glistened.
You did it to me, yeah. Tuesday, you did, yeah. I was like, maybe I can kill you here. I got close, but I was just like, nope.
I kept a card, pitch blue, swing 12, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
shit. What's up, Jason?
1 second. What? So who's the other Kano player that's played the last 2 Pro Quests? Is that Anthony?
Anthony.
Right. I need to know the name.
Yeah.
No.
So
couldn't wait until the end.
What's that?
Couldn't have waited till the end. Gonna make me take the 10 minutes to edit it out.
No, I need to know the name. Sorry.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
I had to wait till you guys were done with your train of thought.
This is all staying in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I apologize, but I'm gonna call him out, give him a shout out and appreciation all in the same time. So I haven't told you guys this because I didn't want to text it. So after at the last Pro Quest,
you got this. I believe in you.
We're
Yeah, do it.
there.
I'm glad you guys believe in me because I don't. I was talking to Anthony he's been playing Kano 2-3 Pro Quest now.
Yeah,
He's been playing Kano. He's been playing Kano nonstop.
That's all he plays.
Yep, playing Kano a lot. So we were sitting down in BS and talking through Kano a little bit at the end, and I was regretful for playing New Bravo, but I figured it was one of the last times I play him, so I'd give him a shot. And we were talking about the podcast, and I, love to hear that people appreciate that. He's like, yeah, and and he doesn't know I'm talking about this, so apologize, but I'm saying it because this is an awesome conversation. He's like, yeah, sometimes I listen to podcasts, and I have a couple beers, which we appreciate because we drink while we're on the podcast. And he's like, and sometimes I get a little too invested in the conversation, right? So he'll get on a side, right? And there was an episode we did, episode 77, I believe is what it was, which I will say I've got lots of comments from people offline that absolutely loved that episode of just the passion, the fighting. No, like most people didn't even care. Like I said, nobody really knew what the argument was about, but people didn't care. They just loved the pure passion of the conversation, which I love. That's why we do this. It is because we're passionate about this game. Once again, Patreon, we don't have OnlyFans. Fucking nobody's looking at our nude pics yet. So I mean, we're making zero money right now. So he was telling me,
don't think of it as a way that you could get in trouble. Think of it as an excuse to be on it.
Correct.
Like, oh, so it's just for Outcast Haven.
It's just for Outcast Haven. Yeah. It's OnlyFans. It's fine. It's fine. So he was invested. So he told me, yeah, I was the one that said Blake is owed an apology. I probably shouldn't do that while I was drinking. And I laughed. But he, like the fact that he told me, because he knew that's kind of an anti-Jason comment, essentially.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the comment too. I just because of the fact
totally
that
anti-Jason. I'm on that team. I make picket signs. Like,
I'm on that team. I didn't even rewatch myself that episode.
It was hard, dude.
It was like I get so ingrained in one thought. Whatever. It's
hard-headed, I think, is the word you're looking for. It's
just me. It's just me, and I enjoy that. So anyway, he said that he was like, and I was like, that is awesome. I was so happy that he told me that one. That's super cool. Like you just told me that's how good we've bonded because of a fucking card game. We're having fun. We're talking about this game, and then you tell me like that's the most anti. It's not the most anti thing about me, but just to say that, I was super happy.
Close.
That's so cool that you told me that. And we shared this moment, had fun. And then I just told him, like, yeah, that's like we said in the next podcast, we've had these arguments before, but we're all grown ass adults and we just get over it the next day.
Maybe two. Like we take a break. There's a cooler period between.
But then it's just fine. But then it's just fine. We enjoy each other and have fun. And you just have that. You have to be able to have arguments, discussions, vehemently disagree with somebody like you do in politics or any other part of this world. You vehemently disagree with people, but then in the true words of Blake, at the end of the day, we can all get together and enjoy each other's company.
At the end of the day, that's the important
At the
thing.
end of the day, that's the important.
That's not like the saying. It's like legitimately at the end of the day, we have beers at the pub.
Yes, at the pub,
end of the fucking day. And
Okay. Is that like a generational thing? I feel like it's new, even since
at the end of the day.
No. In like the last 10 years, like where disagreeing on something is become more normal to be like, I don't talk to you anymore.
That definitely, so
that's new.
in the 80s,
that upticked,
in the 80s and 90s. So as an 80s and 90s child, 100%. One of my best friends from grade school, still one of my best friends now. I've known him since I was 5 years old in kindergarten. We would get in legitimate fights at recess, like legitimate, like almost.
You liked Pink Ranger, and he said Red Ranger was the best. I remember this story.
That wasn't even invented yet. If you're talking Ultron, and then you might have something. But there was no fucking Pink Rangers was something probably very dirty you'd find in the closet in a Playboy magazine. It was nothing on TV that was any anime or anything like that. But we could get in a legitimate fisticuffs style fight and then go over to each other's house that evening on the bus like nothing had happened. That was truly 80s, 90s growing up. Something happened in the 2000. You call something a pussy, and they think they're a pussy for the rest of their lives and don't talk to you. I don't know what happened.
Well, when you're 7 and it's your dad, that impacts you, Jason.
Well, Mason's turned out to be really good, and I called him a pussy when he was 7, and he's turned out just fine.
Yeah, I think it's like this though too. Like it's funny how that is just true in a lot of senses, because I mean, look at the Facebook group. That's a prime example. Like somebody disagrees with somebody, and people are just incapable of disagreeing about a point and moving on and like letting that just be okay. It's like, look, I think you're wrong about this. And it's like, oh, you're such an idiot. And they just like walk away. It's like, cool. You think I'm an idiot. I don't care that you think I'm an idiot. Lots of people probably think I'm an idiot.
I kind of come to the conclusion that like people who let things go they tend to be people that are trusting, and hear me out, because I think that people who can let things go, like in a Facebook group, know that shit comes back around and get vindicated eventually, because like the person that they're arguing with will, I don't know, fall from grace, or the person that they disagree with publicly will start to decline in popularity, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Just as a totally not specific example that I'm giving in our case. And I think that like that vindication is something that you can walk away from and be like, oh, that's fine. We don't need to like make a big thing of this. You're wrong, but I'm going to go about my day. And that's really empowering to be able to do. So I recommend other people do it, because just let shit go, because it's not worth
Example, before we started this podcast, I went onto Facebook and saw Adam post something on a post. So I totally disagreed with him and told him like said he was a horrible person trying to get people to be like asses to me. And then everybody agrees to me, and I don't even know what's going on right now in the Facebook world. I was trying to be the ass, and now I'm the hero. So sorry, Adam. I was trying to have some fun.
What did Adam say? I missed it. Let's just
he said the meta's fine. He said unpopular opinion, the meta is fine. I said it's people like you who make this game horrible, or something like that. People like you that make this game bad, like trying to be like people not knowing that I know Adam very well, and everybody like I get likes. People also are agreeing to me. I'm like,
so I will say
what I was going for.
I'm curious what the meta would look like if Bravo received the treatment that we said and Prism received the treatment that we said. Because if that happens, I feel like the meta, there's not like a clear front runner, and I feel like the meta becomes pretty balanced. If Bravo 2 gets the only applies to Guardian attack actions, and Prism
just gets leveled out somehow.
Luminaris gets. I genuinely think Luminaris gets banned. Like, I think that like Prism is still not a non-contender. I think she's still very viable. So,
deck you can play if you're good. I think Bolton comes back suddenly.
Yep.
You have Control Bravo that's top of the meta. It's a fun.
I think Viserai and Chain are both. Yeah, Viserai and Chain are both good, but nothing crazy.
Obviously, if Viserai, in the current triangle, if the 2 of the 3 get hit, then the third one is probably pretty good. But I feel like Viserai would be very good.
But Viserai is in a weird spot because I think if Bravo got hit and Prism got hit a little bit, then I think Oldham's
fine. Yeah, and then Oldham's
fine. And if Oldham and Bravo exist, they both can run exposed, and they can put Viserai in a weird spot where it's like, hey, you better tempo me, because if you try to OTK me, I might just get your chess piece, and then you can't OTK me anymore. Like it creates like a very dynamic, like the game I think becomes more dynamic, and that's the thing people are missing is everybody wants to defend this, defend that. I think the biggest thing people are like, well, you can't do it before the calling. You're like, yeah, that's fine, but after the calling, we have enough time until the first Pro Tour event.
Yeah, before
Pro Tour. And like before the Pro Tour and that calling, I get that there's stuff in between, but the stuff in between, there's a bunch of blitz callings and stuff, and like blitz battle hardened, and that's fine. That's when you want to make a hit. If you're going to make a change, I think it has to happen after this calling, but well before the Pro Tour, to let things get kind of balanced out. But I think that it also makes for like a really dynamic Pro Tour where maybe there becomes
super fun. Like I'd really like
6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
If they are going to make changes, I would really love to see like a week, like next weekend, like something to come out for like,
just
we're just give people this out. Like
give people 6+ weeks before the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Right.
With like nothing serious, like no major tournaments to like just see what people come up with.
Before we end, I don't know what we're at for time. We got to be getting close to an hour here.
Hour and 6. So
so let's just do quick skirmish season rundown.
Yeah.
We're not huge blitz players, but I will partake in blitz, and by partake of my Kano. In what rhymes with Kano is KO, kind of Kano KO. That rhymes.
I mean, sure.
That sounds good. And then we had
3 of the 4 letters are the same.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, you're
we're
orange
good.
in storage and want to get porridge and the whole Eminem.
Wow,
you're fine.
You can just keep going. Are you gonna be a rapper too? We could make a rap channel.
Dude, that's a good video where Eminem talks about stuff that rhymes with orange.
Yeah. So we had an awesome group conversation in our Australian USA chat last night about Icelander, and I am definitely gonna run her. I'm probably not going to practice first because that's for the week. You don't need to practice going to skirmish season. I'm just going.
It's not worth it.
Full on. This looks good. We've talked through and switched cards just by talking without playing. It should be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's all good, right?
This is fine.
It's fine.
It's never gone poorly doing that.
No, so we also thought Icelander as a adult hero would be pretty interesting and cool to play.
Yep.
Be a lot of fun to play her.
Yeah.
So Kraken, that's once per turn instant, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you can do that on both turns.
One person in the chat was like, "Oh, you could do it as many times as you want." No idea who it was, but somebody thought you could do it.
No, I just meant like you can do it on your turn and on their turn and on your turn and on their turn and just like
right. But somebody thought you could do it multiple times on that turn,
and that person was not Jason.
Was definitely not me. No way I would think that.
Fucking moron.
Harry, I think Harry was like, it's once per turn, but yeah, it's good.
Corrected me at first or said anything. I'm like,
yeah,
I better read the card, I guess. You gotta read the card, see what, and I'm like, oh, it says once per
just play an Ode to Wrath, they have to block it.
Big bold letters.
Yeah, so going into skirmish, I'll play Kano because I always have to play Kano. I will play Kasai is going to be one of my heroes because blood on her hands is crazy, and I like playing. I've always liked playing warriors, so I like Kasai. She's always been really fun. The whole Blade Runner makes her crazy, like just absolutely pretty crazy.
So I think that you mentioned this last week, Blake. How it might have been in a chat actually. You need to confirm, but you talking about how you love Bravo. And the treatment they gave Bravo 2 hurt you more than it made you feel good, as far as Bravo.
It really did. It really did.
That is exactly how I feel about Benji. It's like I love Benji. I loved playing Benji, and
you're a purist. You're Benji purist.
You're a truther, a Benji truther.
I will play Benji, and I think that there's. But I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
yeah,
the thing is that I'm gonna play him. Okay, nope. I just decided just made the decision. I'm gonna play him because good players are going to know how to not let Spring Tidings effect go off, and that's fine. But you're forcing armor block, which is what late game tends to stop Benji from winning. So I think I just kind of keep similar playstyle and not do like the big. Everyone else playing Benji definitely run the big OTK. Just your whole deck is 1s and 2s with Go Again. Do that because you're for sure gonna get some people with that huge wombo combo.
So I will say the one deck that I'm definitely gonna play at some point. I played it like 3 games in a Burgie just because I was like, this deck seems like it's gonna actually need some playing to figure out. Is Valda, because Valda is actually really fun because you basically just put a ton of cards in the deck that say like draw cards. You just run a bunch of Blessing of Deliverance. You run
I bet Coaxic Motion's probably great too.
We just run like Embolden, you run this rounds on me, like all that stuff to just like draw cards and then at the end of your turn, it's funny because you will do like almost nothing. So I had turns where I was like Blessing of Deliverance, draw a card. This rounds on me. We both draw a card. I'll pitch a card and I'll swing Hammer. I'll heave this Thunderquake, and I've got like 6 surges, and it's just going to be a red Thunderquake for 10 dominate. Get wrecked, nerd. And it's like the next turn you're just like sitting there. It's like, I'm gonna defend with my whole hand. I'm gonna have a dominate 10 coming at your face. This is amazing. You like play Toma Fyendal from your arsenal off Mage Master boots, make 2 surges. Like the whole deck is just draw a bunch of cards, make a bunch of surges, gain health off all your blessings. Like I gained off of my blessings. I had
fun.
It's like hilarious. She's super combo wombo, but not in like the Bravo 2 style because she actually requires setting up correctly. Okay, if I draw off my blessing, I can't afford to hammer and heave, and I really want to be able to swing my hammer. So do I want to double blessing? Do I just play one blessing? Do I not play blessing this turn at Arsenal 1? Like Embolden is really fun because you play a blessing into an Embolden with the one floating in another blue. You get to draw another card. And now you've got like a plus effect. So I think I had one turn where I just like heaved in a red Thunderquake with an Embolden +4 and like 3 surges out. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. It's just like next turn is just 14 dominate Thunderquake. Like get wrecked.
And I need no cards to do it. And I have Anathos. So if for some reason I don't draw attack, I can still swing for 6 on my turn.
Yeah. It's great. It's really fun. Like, but after playing it, I was like, okay, some of these cards were definitely not definitely not the cards. I don't think I needed to draw 4 cards every turn. Like you can just heave things in and make searches.
Heave a thing and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
I really want to check out Shyana too. Like I want to like go back into her. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff to do for Blitz.
I mean, now that you have
like little change of pace, I think
you have Endless, you have Alpha, you have Crippling, you can do Lord of the Wings, Spring Tidings. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that Shyana can do, especially if you think your meta is going to have certain heroes that you can mirror and get their abilities. Eventually she's got to be really good.
It would be hilarious to play a deck that was like all based around random Go Again cards, like any generic card that has Go Again in some way, shape, or form, and try to set up a turn where you like Arsenal of Spring Tidings. You just attack with like Scar for Scar, Life for Life, and you're like, Spring Tidings, let's go.
And then they're like Ironhide chest.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to use them on your Crippling Crushes and in your Alpha Rampages.
Yeah,
it's true. Those 2 cards are so pretty.
I think I lost the game, but I did play the one game when we did the live stream way back when, where I did have back turns of Crippling Crushes and Alpha Rampages.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that was against me. You literally went Alpha Rampage, Crippling, Alpha Rampage. And I was like, I lose.
It was just insane. It's just insane in one deck because you're getting the intimidate. It's just so good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun. I think this to end the skirmish part, this skirmish season, I'm more excited for because
there's a lot of variety
to be there.
Yeah.
There's a ton of variety, and you can legitimately just be like, I'm gonna make a deck that I can have a shit ton of fun with.
Yep.
And that's based. I'm gonna make a KO deck that I roll dice. I'm gonna make an
KOTK.
Icelander deck that just tries to be the most oppressive thing ever with the ice and the weird things it can do and get you with the crack. And there's just Benji, you don't get to block shit. There's just so much Kasai. I just have Centauris coming everywhere at your face. There's so much fun stuff.
Yeah.
In this skirmish.
KOTK is legit, actually. Like, just blocking everything until you get to like your what's the specialization? The KO
ready to roll.
Ready to roll until you see you're ready to roll, and you just like play that, and you're like, cool, I'm coming at you so fucking hard this turn.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun skirmish season. It's gonna be very short games. Very short games.
Yeah, they're super fast.
Cool. Well, we will have more to say on that leading into skirmish season, but for tonight, we're gonna wrap her up.
Good luck at the calling, Indy.
Yes.
Godspeed.
Have fun, everybody. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything else?
No.
Cool.
That's a wrap, baby.
Jason and I are going to Jersey, so we will, if you're going there, look forward to seeing you guys. I know we got a bunch of like the New Zealanders and Australians coming up, so that's gonna be a fucking blast. Blake, really sorry that you can't make it.
Yep.
We're gonna keep you looped in though, like you did for me when you guys went to Vegas. So
FaceTime going as we meet the peoples.
Yeah, for sure. But everybody, thanks for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on what you think is going to happen with Bravo and Prism, if anything, how your experiences went. Like, we'd love to hear from you guys. It doesn't have to be shit talking, although we appreciate that as well. And yeah,
big fans.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will talk to y'all next week. Peace.